All right, let's address this question right now. Is vibe coding a scam? Welcome back, builder. My name is Nadir, and I help people like you and like me who are non-developers take the real advantages of AI and use them and apply them in a systematic way to get you all the way from prototype of your idea to an actual functional and production ready application. I've been meaning to shoot this video because I believe this is a question worth addressing. Now, let me be upfront. I don't hate vibe coding. I really think that there is great benefit to it. I would say that the primary benefit of vibe coding is that it removed the big wall of knowledge that was required before in order to get you started. I think vibe coding is awesome because it invites curiosity and experimentation. And honestly, in my personal opinion, if you are not willing to experiment, if you're not willing to be curious about how to achieve something that you want, whether it is in the digital space or really anywhere in life, then you're not gonna get anywhere because you're not gonna even start. So in that same context, I think vibe coding is really, really good. But here is the truth and, a little bit of a different take on the topic, but I'm willing to say it out loud. The truth is vibe coding is gonna get you started, but you're not gonna get to the end just vibe coding alone. You can't vibe code your way all the way from an idea that's in your mind to a fully fleshed production ready application. Now, that's not a bad news at all because we still have the AI component. So if I have to say vibe coding is scam, I would say no. But the statement of you can't do all of it with vibe coding alone, probably it is a scam. Let me put it this way. If creating a production ready application that you can actually profit from can be compared to something, I would say is much like the Everest Summit adventure, because many people in the hundreds or sometimes thousands of people, they start the journey and they all know that this is going to be a tough journey. They all know that this is going to require perseverance and endurance. The problem is that creating a production ready application, creating a product that you can profit from is exactly the same. It's going to require a lot of discomfort from you. And the truth is that when you are building something, whether it is that you are recreating an existing model and you're adding your own spin with some more efficiency added to it, or you're creating something that doesn't exist at all, truth is that you're gonna be uncomfortable, you're gonna struggle, you're gonna fight, you're gonna feel at times that you're super frustrated. And I'm just gonna say it out loud, vibe coding is not gonna get you unstuck. Honestly, at that point, you have to resort to your own capacity, you have to resort to your own ability and resilience, and you have to start to develop some sort of comfort in the discomfort and the frustration and the struggle. Now, especially for people like you and me, we're not developers. So most of the time when these moments come, it requires a lot of perseverance to go out there and do the research and put the work. And vibe coding as a concept tells you that you don't have to do any of this. And honestly, they're lying to you. Now, this takes me to my next point. And again, this can be a little bit of a controversial take on this topic, but this is my honest opinion. Truth is, I believe vibe coding was nothing but just a marketing strategy. Remember this, the person who coined for the first time the term vibe coding belongs to OpenAI. And when you are vibe coding, by definition, what you're doing is you're taking your hands off the steering wheel and you're letting AI drive all the way from the beginning to if you ever make it to the end. And I say that because truth is, depending on the complexity of your idea, depending on the complexity of the execution of your idea, you might be able to make your way just by prompting and eventually get to a functional working product. But this is the thing that I believe no one is really saying. Once you have a product, you have to maintain that product. You have to patch the product. You have to patch security vulnerabilities. You're gonna receive feature requests. You're gonna have to remove features. And when that happens, if you were not in control, how are you going to feel confident of removing or adding something on top of what you have if you have no clue if you're going to break something else? Now, what I said before regarding vibe coding being a marketing strategy, I think it makes a lot of sense if you really think about it. When you are vibe coding, you know, whether you do it with Codex or Claude Code, it doesn't really matter, but what you're essentially doing is you're letting the code be written autonomously by the AI. And the issue is, or not the issue, I mean, it's an issue for your wallet, but the reality is that you're allowing the AI to make iterations over iterations over iterations. You're not really limiting the number of times that the reasoning is happening, and the credits are being burned by the second. And guess who's paying for those credits? You. Now, there is a huge difference between just prompting the AI about, you know, the latest idea that came to your mind when you were in the shower, and actually sitting down and planning what is the thing that you want to achieve. There's a great book written by Stephen Covey, probably 30 years ago, The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. If you've never read that, I truly recommend you to do it. There is one of the habits is called begin with the end in mind. I think no one can really be effective if you don't do this, if you don't practice this habit, because what's happening is that, especially with vibe coding, you start something and then you realize that you achieved this very cool feature by just prompting. And what's going to happen is, because you don't have a roadmap, you're just going to keep prompting and keep adding features and keep adding features and keep adding features until you end up with a monster. And it's nothing like what you imagined when you first started this project. So all of these issues are gonna be a huge pitfall and a major roadblock when it comes to making it all the way to production. And remember, once again, getting your product all the way to production, much like the Everest Summit that I was referencing before, is just part of the journey. You have to have enough energy to come back down and return to your family, your home. This is the same with products. So once you got all the way to the top in the production state, then you have to maintain this product. You have to keep it alive. You have to know what to do for marketing and strategizing. And I'm not trying to say that none of this is possible. All of it is possible. I am doing it. You can do it too. But what I'm doing today is I'm trying to demystify and maybe even try to give you a little bit of a push in the right direction. Because if you think that vibe coding alone is gonna get you to the 1 billion company, that's not gonna happen. And the truth is, I've been looking around and there's been many videos where people is saying like, you know, I vibe coded this app and it's a profitable app. But when you dig deeper behind that statement, you realize that this person wasn't really vibe coding. And because it is a very trendy phrase, or a very trendy topic, then they were using it, but the reality is they didn't vibe code it. Vibe coded by definition is you don't have any interference in the decision making that's happening by the AI. And when you look behind these very successful products where the person building it did not have coding experience, that's not the same as vibe coding, because they had a clear roadmap. They knew where they wanted to go. If you ask them about what kind of APIs they're using, they know. If you ask them about the services they're using, they know. If you ask them about the technical stack the vibe coded application uses, they know. They know all of this. That's not just a casualty. This is an intentional way of building. As a matter of fact, and it's just a quick advertisement here, I do offer a course where I walk you through a 7-day roadmap to use AI effectively in getting all the way from idea and prototype to the desired outcome, which is being able to publish your app and potentially profit from it. So if you want to check out the course, I will leave the link in the description below. And we have a community. You can have your questions answered in the community as well. And the roadmap is very clear. It's for non-developers. And if you really want to check that out, click on the link and I'll see you on the other side. Going back to the topic again, vibe coding, I'm not against it. I think it's great. I think it's awesome for someone who's just starting and wants to know what the real capacity of AI is. But if you really want to get all the way to the summit, you're going to have to be uncomfortable. You're going to have to struggle. You're going to have to expand your comfort zone. I will go as far as to say that if you know that your AI coding, and you should know this honestly, that the technical stack that you're using to build this idea with a AI coding assistant is Next.js, or maybe Python, or maybe React, or maybe Vite, or something like that, I would say it won't hurt you to go ahead and pick up a course on that particular framework and learn the basics. Learn enough to be dangerous, like they say, because the reality is that this is not going to hurt your process. You're preparing for the future, and the more comfortable that you are with the stack that you're using, the better prepared you're gonna be when the difficult moments come, when you don't know why the code is failing and the AI seems to be stuck in an endless loop of just doing the same mistakes over and over again. You're gonna be more prepared to do effective research and effective troubleshooting as well. The idea here is not to completely remove the truth that you can build products abstracting potentially 80% of the complexity, which is coding. You can do that, but you don't fall victim of the trap of believing that vibe coding alone is gonna get you there. There will be challenges on the way. You can't vibe code your way through those challenges. Now, once again, this is absolutely possible. I know that this sounded like a little bit of a negative note, especially in the midst of so much hype regarding vibe coding, but I want to be truly transparent with you. I am not a developer, and I have been able to deploy over a dozen different production apps for myself, my ideas, the things that I dreamed of building, and also for clients as well. Learning how to build using the AI capabilities for coding feels like a superpower. It's really possible. And again, I teach a framework. I give you a roadmap that actually helps you in doing that in 7 days. So I will have to be hypocritical if I tell you that that's not possible. It is possible, but there are some things that you have to be aware of, and to know that you have to learn the skill. You're not learning how to develop, how to do software engineering. You're not learning how to code, but you're learning how things work. Recently, somebody from one of the big tech companies was questioned about what are the software engineers going to do. Well, first of all, honestly, there is a big movement happening kind of behind the scenes of big tech companies rehiring senior software engineers again to make sure that the AI generated code is good, is safe, is secure, is not vulnerable. But in addition to that, the answer of this person was, if the code is being written by AI, then the person behind the keyboard cannot think like a coder anymore. You have to think like a builder. And that's, once again, the reason why I created this course. Because instead of vibe coding, my proposal to be successful in this day and age is to follow a framework that I called intent-based building. And once again, if you want to check out the course, you can just click in the link below, and I will see you on the other side.